race fans, Slingin Media here. We're on the YouTube channel. I'm here with Kevin Shaw of Shaw Race Cars. We're here at Florence Speedway for the King of Sport Mod show this weekend, King of Compact also. Kevin, thanks for coming, man. How do you like this place?
I love it. Love it. It's a great place. We're doing a little walk through the pits here.
Absolutely.
I think they had 80 cars here last night.
80 cars for the sport mods. Now, I think I heard something like 70 or more, or 90 something for the compact. So there's almost 200 race cars here on site, Florence Speedway this weekend for such a great event. $10,000 to win for both sport mods and compacts.
And I think this is an inaugural event, so this is the first year they've been doing it.
For the sport mods,
okay,
yes.
okay, yeah.
I think they had it last year for the compacts. So Kevin, tell us about Shaw Race Cars. What do you guys got going on?
Well, we've been really busy the last couple of years. We've had some different owners take over since my dad retired. And so he's retired now, and the Mosley family took over the business. And we've got a lot of customers up here in Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky area.
Right.
And so I brought a couple cars up this weekend, and I think I counted last night, we had, of the 80 cars, there was 9 Shaw chassis representative here. And we got 3 of them in the show last night of the 9, and we got 5 more starting on the front 2 rows of the 6Bs they got. So
right.
We have a good opportunity to get 8 of the 9 in.
Right.
So our cars are really being strong. I see we got Matt Watson here.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of the Shaw cars, we have our Florence Speedway track champion here, Matt Watson, his car. Tell us about this piece.
Well, Matt had called me a while back when they introduced or made an announcement that they were going to have this big race, and want to know what we can do to come up and support it. And he figured there'd be a lot of cars here and things of that nature. And I said, well, I'd love to come up there. And so I hooked up with him, and we come up here and we brought some cars, and I got to visit with a lot of customers. And in this industry, a lot of times you'll see customers that got your car this year, and then next year they get something else, and then down the road they'll maybe come back to you.
Right.
And I see a lot of that up here. So
yeah.
A lot of my customers that may not be in my cars now are in other brands, still good friends with all of them.
Sure.
And it's just good to reminisce with old times
right.
and good guys. But
and didn't Rayburn always say they'll be back?
That's Rayburn. That's his saying. They'll be back. And you know, in this sport, you can't blame a guy for trying to improve his racing program.
Absolutely.
So if he thinks he's going to get better in something else, you know, fully acknowledge him for trying. You know.
Right. It's one of those things where if you're not trying, you're not getting better.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you go fishing and they got this new hot lure out, you got to go try it.
You got to try it.
Yeah, that's it.
So what's somebody got to do? If somebody wants a Shaw race car, what do they got to do?
Well, you give me a call on the phone at our shop, and we'll visit with you on what rules you're running under, regulations, and what part of the country you're in. Because you get up here, you got a lot of UMP, AMRA type series, and then you get out west, and you got in the Midwest, you got IMCA, and down south you've got Cruiser series. So you got series, different parts all over the country. Matt bought this car here, I think 2 years ago.
Okay.
And he's had really good success. Won his track championship this year at Florence. And I've been helping him some this weekend. Our results hadn't been where we want them with him, because we know he would like to be better. But he still got himself in a good position to get in the A.
Right.
And but overall, we're having a good time with him and stuff like that. But
good.
Our new cars have really been good this year. We haven't made a whole lot of changes on this. We're actually working on a new design car that's got quite a bit of differences in it. But when you work on and you build race cars, you gotta kind of build to the masses and what's happening in different parts of the country. Because you get guys with our tried and true car that we're building, that we built for the last 2 or 3 years. It's been running really well, and you got guys running really well in them. They don't want to change.
They're stuck in, hey, this is what's working. Yeah. I want to stay in
I don't want to change this.
Right.
But then you get the guy that's struggling.
Yeah.
And he's wanting to know, well, what are you going to do different? Because this ain't working for me.
I'm doing this, and it's not working for me.
Yeah. And so you got to constantly be evolving.
Right.
And a lot of times it may not be an actual chassis change as much maybe a setup change.
Sure.
And an adjustment there. Or the drivers, you know, everybody drives differently. You know, you're not going to all be a Kyle Larson or Jeff Gordon or Tony Stewart type racer.
Sure.
A lot of these guys, they're plumbers, they're electricians, they're truck drivers.
Right.
And so they don't race 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
And so you got to get them a car that's going to be comfortable for them, that's easy to drive and easy to maintain. And so it's a pretty good balance that you have to have.
You know, I've said this, and it's came up in different interviews and stuff, and guys that I've spoke with, and some people don't realize you've got to find what fits that guy's driving style. You know, you've got some of your bigger name guys that, hey, you could tell when he gets in a Rocket late model, that fits his driving style. Or you've got a guy that's successful in a Bloomquist car because that fits his driving style. So you've got to work with the drivers pretty closely as well. It's like, hey, what does this guy need? Is this this might be the chassis for this particular guy, or we can get you really close, but your driving style doesn't work with our
setup
setup
we're running.
Right.
Yeah, and we're constantly having to, and that's the other thing. I feel like we got a really good tech support system in our shop. We got 2 or 3 guys there that, me included, that they call me up and tell me what the cars are doing, and I can give them advice on what they need to do for the direction they need to go. When they get a car from us, they get an owner's manual, just like a leather-bound pouch that you get in the pickup if you go buy a new Forward.
Here's your owner's manual. Here's what this is the gospel.
It is, and it's a tuning guideline that tells them when you get to the track, if you're loose or tight, on or off throttle or different areas of the racetrack, recommended changes that's going to go the direction you need to go.
Right.
Now, by all means, the X factor there is what's sitting between the seat and the steering wheel.
Sure, the loose nut.
He's got to drive it properly too. And like you mentioned there, some cars are more suited for certain driving styles.
Sure.
So when I visit with guys and I say, are you a right front driver or a right rear driver? In other words, do you drive in on the right front and rotate? Or are you more the guy that relies on the right rear to scotch and rotate off the right rear? And both methods are tried and true and both work. Some racetracks, one's better than the other. And so you'll see certain drivers, even in the late model world, that are better at certain tracks than others.
Sure.
And, I've been around this business long enough that I've got to work with a lot of really, really good late model drivers. I'm not going to name drop, but about every one of them at the top of the list I've worked with.
Talented people that can give you good feedback.
Yeah, and you get someone like a Steve Francis from this area of the world, and then you get a Dale McDowell in Georgia, and you got a Billy Moore in Arkansas, and they all growed up on different racetracks.
Sure.
So they develop certain styles.
Right.
And you get them, and when they're racing on the track that they grew up on, that's where they're usually their best.
Yeah.
And you get a guy that's uncomfortable driving out of his style, he can still be fast, but at the end of the day, I didn't like that at all. I won the race, but man,
it didn't feel right.
It didn't feel good.
Yeah. I was out of my comfort zone to do it.
And then when you tune the car to where it feels good, he's a half second off. So
sometimes those guys got to learn to get out of your comfort zone and get fast.
Get uncomfortable and be a half second faster, and you're going to win this race.
Sure.
Kind of get up on them a little bit.
Right.
And then I'm looking here. We got 3 of the Shaw cars right here. You got Adam Stricker, who runs an Elite Modified now.
Right.
And then this is his old Shaw car that one of his buddies has, and he's running it this weekend. And Adam ran second in the qualifier last night. And then you got Matt here, he's the track champion here. And then you got 2 over here, you got this 3 car, that's Kevin Spencer.
Yep.
And you know what's cool about all that is I can walk through the pits, and I'm not saying my memory's the greatest, but I know everybody's names down through here.
Yeah.
And even the guys that have got something else, I'll walk right by them, visiting with people. I used to ride my bicycle around the pit, but I found that when I rode my bike, I'd ride right by people and not stop and talk to them.
Yeah.
So now I walk.
It's healthier that way too.
It's healthier, but at the end of the day, your legs will wear out.
Sure.
And it's fun.
But you get more of that relationship, like you said, with your customers and people that you're getting intel back from and stuff that you can relate, or you can help them with an issue they're having, or hey, I know a guy who's having this same problem and he did this and it fixed it.
That's one of probably the cool things of being building cars nationwide that we've been doing for 40 plus years now. Is you can find out what's working for this one guy in this area of the country on a different tire roll, and it might apply to another guy in another part of the country.
Right.
And then if you want to come up with a new setup or a new tweak, you can put it on 4 or 5 guys' cars that weekend in different tire rolls, different areas of the country, and it might work at one area and not the other, but you've learned that to put in your vault for your knowledge.
Sure.
And then you get, like Matt is one of the good racers around here. Let me let this fire truck get by here.
We don't want to get too wet.
But then we got that going there. But you get like Matt here, who's a really good racer and been racing for a long time. And then you got Nick Snell down here, who's pretty young.
Yes.
And just
a talented young driver.
Very talented, and I think he might have won the points at Moeller this year.
He won the points at Moeller, and Matt finished right behind him in points.
Yeah.
So Matt had a good season, picking up a championship here, second there.
Yeah.
Snell, like you said, I mean, that talented kid is just, he's been really good for a few years now, and
yeah.
he racked up a bunch of wins out at the Moeller Raceway Park on Friday night. So.
Yeah. And I was talking to him and his dad this week, and actually that's the other thing. I talked to some of these guys on the phone, but that's the first time I actually got to meet them and talk to them face to face.
Yeah.
And so that's another reason why I like coming out to these racetracks that are a little farther out. I mean, this is about a 9 or 10 hour drive for us to get here.
So how often do you guys get to actually go out and go to different places like this?
Well, we try to travel. We'll stay around our home base around a 2 to 3 hour around all the tracks locally.
Yeah.
For most of the year.
Okay.
We do try to hit the big venue events at the end of the year.
Right.
Like you got up here this weekend, you got 80 cars. It's an opportunity to see 80 customers.
Sure.
That you normally wouldn't get to see.
Right.
We go to the IMC Super Nationals in Iowa, and we go to Las Vegas to their big deal, and then we go down to Louisiana, we go to Florida Speed Weeks,
yeah.
and different places like that. You know, I love going to Eldora for the World 100,
yeah.
but they have it the same weekend as the IMC Super Nationals every year, so it's hard to get to both.
Right.
But we got four, and then Jeff Taylor and Travis Mosley are both guys that work for us, and they race also. So they're out in the pits every week visiting with folks too.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a lot of tracks down there that race Friday and Saturday as well, or is it mostly just a Saturday night kind of?
Our local track, which is Batesville Speedway, my dad built in 1989, and that's our local track.
Okay.
And we built it, and they race on Friday nights. And then Saturday night tracks, we've got I-30 Speedway in Little Rock, and West Plains, which is Legit Speedway, and they're right down the road, and also Crowley's Ridge is down the road from us as well. Unfortunately, I-30 Speedway, tonight is their last night. They've been in business. They've been in for 66 years. One of the oldest dirt tracks in America.
Sure.
Opportunity came up for them to sell, and the owners of it are ready to retire.
They were at that point where, okay, we've had a good career. It's been good. Let's hit that retirement mark.
We're going to miss that track. It was definitely one of our favorites. We all grew up. You know, most of us. I grew up in the time when Rodex Heads, who builds most aluminum heads, you had the Brotherton brothers, and me. We grew up, and we were 4 or 5 years old. And then you had the Schoenfield boys, Doug and Dennis Schoenfield.
Yeah.
You had Troy Sweet with Sweet Manufacturing.
Yep.
So all these people that are manufacturers now, all of us kids grew up playing with Hot Wheels in the dirt at the dirt tracks.
Yeah.
And so we've all grown up in this sport.
Sure.
And it's pretty neat that you look now and I look in the mirror and I got a little more gray hair than I used to.
A little bit.
Yeah. But it's a fun deal, and I tell you what, it is super nice to come out and visit with folks. And like I said, most all of my customers are running well up here. Like I said, even the ones that aren't, they're still happy with that we're here.
They've got a good product.
They're happy we're here visiting with them, and knowing that we care about them. You know.
I know me and the promoter Josh King grew up the same way with the Hot Wheels and the playground over here, and now look where we're at. He's running a place, and I'm just doing anything I can to help out.
Exactly. Got the water truck coming back by.
Water truck again. So day-to-day operations. What's a typical day like at Shaw Race Cars?
Well, let's just start out on Monday. So we get in after the weekend of racing. Mondays we'll get in the office, and usually on the phone up front. We're pretty busy taking orders for parts to ship back out that week, so they need to get them by the weekend. So as long as we get them out on Monday or Tuesday, most anywhere in the country we can get them out.
So you guys just don't build the chassis. You guys sell the parts to go on the cars as well.
We service our product. So Monday and Tuesday is when we're doing all of our sales. We do a lot of tech support through that time of day too, on Mondays and Tuesdays. By Wednesday and Thursday, the part sales slows down because they're probably not going to get it by the weekend.
Right.
So they've already ordered all that stuff. And so I work in the shop a lot too, assembling cars and stuff like that. We've also got our in-house shock lab, so we rebuild our shocks and repair them for all of our customers. The shop guys, we got about 4 guys that work in the shop that does all of our sheet metal, does fabrication work. And so John and Travis are the main two guys that do that, and then me and Jeff and Travis are in the shop, and then we got Scott and Marlene in the office with us. And so we're a pretty small staff, but we get a lot out the door.
Right.
Also, on Monday and Tuesday, sometimes we'll show up on Monday morning, we don't know what it's going to look like, because we got an open door policy. If you wreck on the weekend, you have that car there Monday morning, we're going to put it in front of our bills.
Sure.
Because we know you're running for points or possibly need to get it back out the next week.
Right. Which is a good policy. I mean,
that's we've always done it.
Makes sense.
And then so typically that's what we do. But so the guys on the jig, they'll build the cars. Takes them about 12 to 14 hours to build a chassis on the jig. We got a powder coater down the road, rock hard powder coating. That's about 12 miles from us. We'll call them. They'll come pick the car up, take us, powder coat it, bring it back to us. When they bring it back, then we put it in the shop, and depending on what the work order says,
sure,
what stage of completion they want, from a complete car to just a bare chassis, we'll sell them any way they want.
Right.
Our main primary cars are going to be your sport mods and your A mods.
Okay.
We are just started by building late models again.
Oh, okay.
We stopped building late models in 2010, and then they're starting to grow a little bit more around our area.
Yeah.
So we're just got done building our first one last week. Well, actually last month, and he just started racing it last week. But so that's going to be a market we're going to be probably dabbling with a little bit.
I got you.
It's still
so that 2010 era, is that, when did your dad stop building cars?
My dad stopped building cars in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, and he started in '79, so he was in the business.
So you guys went to predominantly more modifieds before that?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. In 2000, tell you how this sport's going, you'll see it's kind of like a, supply and demand's a big deal in this industry. So when we first started, you had us, Ed Howell Racing, C.J. Rayburn, you had Ray Callahan with Bullet, and a few others, but you had about 5 car builders nationwide servicing the whole country.
Yeah.
Now we got about 45 car builders, but there's not as many racers either.
Servicing a smaller part of the country.
Yeah, so there's not as many racers as there used to be, so there's more suppliers, less demanders.
Yeah.
So you really got to work hard at it. But our biggest years was from about 2004 to 2008,
okay.
And we built 240 to 260 cars a year.
Wow, that's a lot.
During those time frames. We're down now to where we're only building about 80 cars a year.
80.
So,
still, that's a good
number.
number.
That's
That's
a big
a lot
number.
of cars.
It's a big number, and we're happy with that.
Right.
And that number may go down even more as the sport diminishes a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see a climb back in a few years. I hope.
I hope so.
These big venues like this is promising for sure.
Sure. Now you talked about how you had to shift gears from basically building late models, going to modifieds or doing something like that. I work for a plumbing company, and depending on basically their economy almost is going to kind of dictate a little bit on your supply and demand, which direction you're going. So is it more of a service, new construction side, or are you more in the residential side, depending on what the supply is? And like I said, the economy has something to do with that. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at in the sport now is, well, we're fluctuating a little bit. Maybe we're a little bit maybe trying to get back on that upswing, so we're going back toward late models a little bit.
Well, it's one of those deals with any business. You're going to make adjustments to be successful.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see that you're seeing a decline in this area, and you got to make up for it in another area.
Right.
So we're seeing a decline in some of the modified division market, but we're seeing guys get late models. And then the flip side of that varies in different parts of the country.
Sure.
You go down in the southeast, all you see there is late models.
Late models.
You don't see modifieds in the southeast.
Crate late models.
Yeah,
They're everywhere.
Crate late models is probably more who we're looking at.
Yeah.
We're not looking for the Lucas Oil
Right.
or the World Outlaw late model customer, although they're welcome. But we're looking for that weekly late model racer.
Yeah.
That's running in
that guy
a
that's
crate
week in and week
series
out, or a regional guy.
Yeah. There's a Cash Money Series late model out of Missouri. There's a IMC late model that's really popular up in Iowa.
I've seen one of those Cash Money races. I can't remember where.
Probably Springfield, Missouri.
I think it was, a matter of fact. I knew it was in that area, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. That name just stands out. Cash Money. That's what they're racing for, is Cash Money.
That's right. And, it may not be much cash, but it's cash money.
It's Cash Money. The Cash Money Series, anyway.
That's right.
Yep,
That's right.
yep. So,
well, look for you to maybe come to Arkansas sometime. Arkansas and check us out. Come check out the shop sometime.
Okay, so tell me, when is a good time of year when it's not like visiting the sun? It's really warm down
So
there.
you've been in there in August like you've been before.
I did. I went to the topless race, and
100 degrees and 90% humidity is not comfortable with it.
I tell you what, the best way that I can explain racing in Batesville, Arkansas would be like racing in Afghanistan. I mean, it was like hot as could be. But no, it was seriously, it was a great place. I almost had a great experience there. Yeah. I had an issue while I was there, but anyway, we won't talk about that. But no, great place. Yeah, I'd love to come back and visit.
Well, our build season is generally going to be from October to March. Is when we build most of our chassis.
Sure.
And then from April to September is when you're going to be. You don't build as many cars, and we still build cars throughout the year.
Right.
But you don't have that push to guys wanting to have them for next year.
Yeah.
And so we seem like we're constantly got cars on order.
Right.
But the build season is more, like I said, in October to March, and then the rest of the time is repair work, shock rebuilds. Right. We do a lot of sheet metal refurbishing cars, cleaning them up and stuff like that, and repair work, and part sales are huge in too.
Sure.
But yeah, just if you want to look us up sometime on our website or give us a call at the shop at Shaw Race Cars.
ShawRaceCars.com?
Shaw Race Cars Inc.
Inc. Okay.
Shaw Race Cars Inc. at gmail.com.
Okay.
And you can get a hold of us there and give us a call, and we can get it fixed right up.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like I need to make a trip, just to, if nothing else, make it through your dad's museum.
Yeah. My dad's got a neat museum. He opened that thing up about 3 years ago. What happened was he had all this stuff in boxes. And I said, you need to get that stuff out and put it on display.
Right. It's not doing anybody any good in boxes where people can't see it. You need to go to the museum and check it out.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, the average Joe guy that don't ever go to the dirt track, he's probably not going to think too much of it. But if you're a dirt fan or dirt racing fan, it's pretty neat to go through. And you go in there and see the old Mark Martin days, and Jerry Emmon, Don Hester, Jeff Purvis, Billy Moyer.
Yeah.
The guys that are legends in the sport.
The guys that moved through the decades of where we are and where we came from to where we are now, and guys that are still racing.
Well, and you got all these different car builders, or a younger generation of car builders, that are coming on the market now. But then you go to my dad and them with, Larry Shaw, you had Mark Richards with Rocket, Barry Wright, Sanford Goddard, all them guys, they're all getting older.
They're getting older.
And my dad, he offered to sell me the business several years ago, and I said, Dad, I don't mind working there, but I don't want to be the guy that has to make payroll and do all the taxes and all that stuff. So I said, I'd just soon be hands-on, and I've enjoyed that. And the Mosley family who bought the business have been really, really good. They're great people to work for.
Good.
And
so it still feels like the family.
It's still family-oriented, and a shout-out to them. They just
sometimes you'll get that.
Yeah, a shout-out to them. They just had their first grandchild this week. Travis and Jerica Mosley just had their baby yesterday, or day before yesterday, Brent.
Okay.
So that's a new addition to the family.
Gotcha. Excellent.
But yeah, you get all these guys, and I've always really, really thought a lot of Barry Wright. He's one of those guys that would talk to you at the racetrack, and I told him one day, I said, I need to get me some of them overalls, so I just looked just like you, Barry.
Just look like the overalls,
But everybody had, tendencies there, but
so you had the overalls with Wright, and a lot of people would go around with the bills flipped up like Earl. There's definitely characters that have their trademarks.
We've got characters at a dirt track. I don't know if you noticed it or not.
There's a few, and that's what I think. I hope we get a few of those characters or some of those traits, and people watch and be like, that guy, I gotta go check this place out. I gotta go see this.
Well, you moved from Florence, Kentucky. And the first guy I think of was John Gill. John Gill
the
with the boots and the cowboy hat on.
The guy from Indiana.
But you think of Florence, Kentucky. I don't know why. That's because they won the North South 100.
Yeah.
And
modern day cowboy John Gill.
And then you had Mike Duval, Flintstone Flyer. Everybody had a little spell or something.
A gimmick or something. Almost like the wrestlers, the WWF wrestlers or something. They had their little gimmick.
I've always thought my dad was probably one of the more humble ones in the sport.
Right.
But it seemed like when he got a little older, he didn't mind the spotlight then.
Yeah, he played into it just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. He loves it. So.
Excellent. Well, Kevin, is anything else we need to tell us about before we cut it short?
DJ, I don't think so. I just think we've been blessed over the last 40-plus years. I was joking with my dad earlier. He was in the business of Shaw Race Cars from '79 to 2019, so he was there for 40 years.
Right.
Okay, now he started racing with Mark Martin below that before he started business. Yeah. But so I graduated high school in '85, but I was working when I was about in '82.
Okay.
So I feel like in another year I will have passed him. I would have been in the business for 41 years.
41 years.
Where he stopped at 40.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to be a little bit ahead of him here shortly.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah. But no, we've had a good run. So.
Good. Well, keep it going. Hope you guys nothing but the best of luck, and good luck to some of your Shaw cars here this weekend. And man, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you got customers and stuff here, so we appreciate you. Like I said, just taking the time to talk to us and tell us what you guys got going on, and enjoy having you here at Florence Speedway.
All right. Appreciate it, DJ.
All right.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right.
So guys, thanks for tuning in. Another episode of Slingin Dirt Media here with Kevin Shaw, Shaw Race Cars here at Florence Speedway this weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you check us out next weekend. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you at the track next week.